Netflix profits are steadily declining, while YouTube's are consistently growing year after year. In the coming years, chances are YouTube will most definitely destroy Netflix as a platform. And there are several reasons why. And we are going to uncover them one by one, but before we do, let's take a look at the rise and fall of Netflix and how its own strategies eventually backfired. In terms of exponential growth over the years, Netflix has been deemed the king of entertainment platforms. Netflix is a subscription-based business model, and unlike Spotify, they don't offer a free trial. It gained popularity by providing its customers with unlimited DVD rentals at fixed rates with longer due dates. The only competition Netflix faced in the early years was from Blockbuster, which was the largest home video rental service in the United States. Although later, Netflix and its new business model completely destroyed Blockbuster and blew them out of the water. Initially, Netflix gained huge popularity due to the show Breaking Bad, which became such a huge success, and that was one of the reasons Netflix gained so many subscribers at the start. After that, Netflix grew exponentially over the years and expanded into more countries. But the question is Netflix's business model even sustainable? Taking into account the fact that Netflix spends millions of dollars creating original content, and also considering the fact that Netflix is not a platform that generates revenue through any ads. So what is the reason for their current decline? More and more long-term users are dropping out of Netflix, and Netflix is losing literally millions of subscribers every single month. In April 2022, Netflix announced that it had lost a huge number of subscribers for the first time in 2 decades. But at the same time, an intriguing factor here is that only the subscriber count was reduced, whereas the user count increased. You might be asking, what does that even mean? Well, let me explain. During the first quarter of 2022, the quarterly U.S. media consumption tracker found Netflix actually had the biggest growth in regular users of any streaming service. The number of working-age Americans who watch Netflix at least once a week is 71%. The user base increased so much that Netflix began to realize that something was wrong with it. Then they realized that the real issue behind this had to be password sharing, as there is no other possible way that this could happen. This in itself is a huge potential income leak for Netflix, as literally thousands of people can use this loophole of password sharing to access Netflix without paying an active subscription plan. There was a loss of more than 200,000 subscribers, and more long-term users are dropping out of Netflix. It's clear that the probable reason for this is password sharing among people. In fact, according to Netflix, more than 30 million households are using a shared password. And a new study from Attest, a consumer research platform that tracks consumer behavior across multiple media, found that despite the huge drop in subscribers, the user count went skyrocketing throughout the quarters. The Attest study claims that password sharing must be the reason behind the imbalance between user gains and subscriber loss. As Netflix was having a quick rise in media streaming, other popular companies realized it was time to step up their game, and they started to produce their own streaming services as well. Now we are left with multiple streaming services like Amazon Prime Video, Hulu, Disney+, HBO Max, etc. This obviously leads to tough competition among these companies. Another drop of gas on Netflix fire is their production of original content. They realized the main factor of generating more losses than gains for Netflix is the fact that they spend millions of dollars on creating original content, but the only income generation is through subscription plans, which doesn't add up to the millions they spend on producing content. Another issue with Netflix is that although they put millions into generating content, the promotion of their shows is not up to the mark. One obvious reason is their continuous production of content. They are putting new content out almost every day, and there is no considerable promotion of their content to the potential viewers. If that's not crazy enough, keep watching, as there are more deadly mistakes Netflix has been making without even realizing it. Another issue is their release schedule, which also has a huge impact. Unlike their competitors, Netflix used to release all of their new shows all at once, almost expecting the viewers to binge watch them all in one setting. Whereas other companies, such as Amazon, had a weekly release schedule, which makes a big difference. When a show is scheduled, the viewers expect to see upcoming parts of it in the next week. and it keeps them all sort of hooked. But on Netflix, most people can just sit by and binge watch the entire show at once. A study done at University of Melbourne found that binge watching a show actually reduces the enjoyment of the show as compared to consuming a show in segments over weeks. There's also the factor of waiting up with the expectation of seeing what's next in the show. In the expectation window itself, they get dopamine spurts all the way leading up to the actual watching of the show. But if you watch it all at once, there's not much enjoyment. Even on a psychological or hormonal level, all the dopamine gets an instant burst through binge watching, and you don't feel the lingering satisfaction because by the time the show is finished, you are depleted of all feel-good hormones. If Netflix had taken the psychological factor into consideration, they could have implemented a better strategy around this. Not to mention that scheduling the release of the show may also reduce production expenses to some extent. But Netflix keeps releasing shows every other day, and the Netflix homepage doesn't even have enough space for promoting all of its new content at once. A few of their own productions are given high priority, and their other paid media shows don't even get as much promotion as they should. You see the problem with this? This even comes down to the behavioral science principle known as choice overload. When you find so many shows on the page, it becomes harder for you to choose what to watch. Am I right or wrong? I mean, has it happened to you that you had to spend more time selecting what to watch than the actual duration of what you choose? Let me know in the comments below. Now let's take a look at why YouTube's business model is actually much more sustainable and for sure tailored to take down Netflix. Because YouTube is an ad-supported platform, it generates significant revenue from advertisements. YouTube takes around 30 to 45% commission from advertisers, and the rest of the revenue is shared with YouTube content creators. Hence, more incentive for creators to produce high-quality content that YouTube does not have to spend a dime to create. Hence, in comparison with Netflix, YouTube is not committing economic suicide by spending millions upfront on the original content. For example, YouTube does have their own original content called YouTube Originals, but these shows are not so expensive to make as compared to Netflix content, as YouTube mainly focuses on educational content in most of their productions. Since YouTube has hundreds of millions of daily users, companies are willing to pay a lot to advertise their products. And YouTube is also the second largest search engine after Google, and it's owned by Google itself. Netflix has recently been thinking about moving into an ad-based platform, but after all, Netflix is already sliding down a steep hill, while YouTube's success as a platform is skyrocketing. Unless Netflix finds a way to solve the issues that are ruining their current business model, its survival as a platform will remain at stake.